valley. Hope to be a fly fish till the day that I die. Spring has thawed out the long bitter winter. The water is clear and the skies are blue. I'm standing in the middle of the Beaverkill River. Might even catch and release one or two. Well, some folks like horses, cats or dogs. Me, I like fishing with a rod and a fly. Yes, fishing is a favorite pastime of mine. If I couldn't do it, I think I would try. Well, it's good when I'm wading a river. It gets even better when I cast a fly. If I catch a trout, it don't really matter. It's fun just to be here and give it a try. Trout is rising in the far eddy. I make a false cast, then take my aim. If he takes the fly, I feel so much better. And if he doesn't, I'll feel no shame. Stoneflies and caddis and the riffles are plenty. Mayflies courting on fragrant breeze. And cedar wax wings come down from the heaven, wait for their dinner up in the pine trees. The water is cold and my waders leak, and it's raining now on my favorite stream. I'll bear it all, just fish with a feather, so when I sleep I will have a sweet dream. And life is good when I'm wading a river. It gets even better when I cast a fly. If I catch a trout, it don't really matter. It's fun just to be here and give it a try. Oh, ripples and waves, pools and eddies, trout are rising for the mayfly. And the sun is shining down on the valley. Hope to be a fly fish until the day that I die. Yes, I hope to be a fly fish until the day that I die.
New York City has the world's largest unfiltered water supply. Right now, the natural gas industry wants to drill in our watersheds. The process is called hydraulic fracturing. It uses over 900 chemicals injected under the ground, combined with explosives that cause mini earthquakes to extract the gas. But the process hasn't been proven safe. Watersheds across the nation have been contaminated with plastics, carcinogens, mutagens, and endocrine-disrupting chemicals, and with explosive natural gas. Whoa! This cannot be allowed to happen here. Join Scott Stringer, Manhattan Borough President's Kill the Drill campaign, because we can't drink natural gas, and because there's no New York without New York water.
And that, to me, is the most alarming environmental news I've heard in a long time, and makes this the #1 environmental crisis that we face in the city.
A message from Scott Stringer, Manhattan Borough President, and waterunderattack.com.
Hey folks, welcome to today's show. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Today's show is featuring the Ebden Hatchery up in the state of Maine, where they have new technology where they actually raise the trout in circular tanks, and it reduces waste and it increases their production. So they're creating huge numbers of brook trout, brown trout, and landlocked salmon, I believe is what they raise there. So the other part of the show is going to be talking about tabby's caddis, which is a fly that it's a CDC caddis that I tie here for the Delaware but when I fished with a young girl up there, the second night I was there at the camp, the Trout Waters camp in Maine, she caught 9 browns, or 9 brookies, 2 browns, and she lost the landlocked salmon. So she did very well, and that night I decided to name it the Tabby's Caddis. So that's what you're going to see in today's show. So learn how to tie the Tabby's Caddis, tie it in different sizes and colors, and get out there and enjoy our great outdoors. Thanks for watching.
Here's some different types of casts. The reach cast with a mend. A reach cast is where you cast out and pull the line to the left or the right, guiding the line to fall where you want it to fall on the water. And then the mend is where you flick little rolls of line out to add to the drift or the float of the fly. The roll cast is a very effective cast, and it's usually used where there's trees overhanging down behind you and you can't have a back cast. So the roll cast allows you to cast line out without using a back cast. Here's the other direction. And you see I bring the rod tip past parallel and get a little loop in the line and then go forward and it rolls the line out. One more time. And with practice, you can get so you can send out huge amounts of line. On the Al Sable up in the Adirondacks, I have to use a roll cast quite often, and it's very effective. There's the reach cast and a mend. There's a mend, flip, 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 and another one. It allows you to put line out. And again, that is to help the fly have a longer float on the water. I'm going a little bit back too far on my back cast there. But again, you can see I'm stripping the line in, and then I pick up and cast, and I'm shooting the line out. And there goes a merganser flying by me. And there's the little mend. There's some more mending. And there's the roll cast again from the back. And you see how the line goes right out. Little flick, and then the line goes out. This hole is, we kind of nicknamed it the dead deer hole because a couple of years ago there was a dead deer that really stunk up the place. It's a beautiful hole.
And so begins the task I have dreaded, the coming of so long. I wait for the sun to remind my body it needs resting, and I must learn to live without you now. I must learn.
In our first year of operation, 2006, our first full year of operation, we did almost 90,000 pounds of fish, which is better than 25% of total state production. Comparatively, for the old system, we used to do about 20 to 25,000 pounds annually, so we tripled or almost quadrupled production on the same amount of water. To raise the kind of fish that we're raising here now on the same amount of water that we used to raise before, we couldn't do it without this huge tank that we're sitting here right here. This is our liquid oxygen tank. For the most part, our DO, dissolved oxygen, is very good throughout the course of the year. It's just when we get into late July, August, September, when we're carrying our peak biomass or peak tons of fish on station here, with this baby, we live or die with this thing. We like to maintain it about 80% saturation, we call it. Try to keep it between 7 and 8 parts per million.
8 parts per million.
7 to 8,
Well,
ideally.
they're going to test during the week. The water
Yeah, we're going to do a little
so
test here actually with the meter, so you can see the differences between what goes in and what comes out. So you can see that firsthand.
So what is the temperature of the
Right now we're at about 13.5 degrees Celsius, which is looking at 55, 56 degrees Fahrenheit probably, somewhere thereabouts. So, we try to maintain that throughout the course of summer. 4 bulbs each, and it's just an open channel. The water flows through the channel, and then it does it sterilizes the water that passes through it. It doesn't really kill the organisms that are in there, it just sterilizes them so they can't reproduce. Basically makes them ineffective as pathogens. Basically a simple rectangular box, if you will. It's very efficient at what it does. The oxygen from that bulk tank outside is injected basically underneath the feet here into this tank. You see the hose line there. And as the water percolates down through these channels in this chamber, it provides the most optimum efficiency use of oxygen being absorbed into the water that you can get. We use a few backpacks, or they're actually hiked in on foot and packed in that way. Those fish are usually very small, probably looking at no bigger than a couple inches or so. We use these big trucks. This is our mainstay, if you will. This is where the majority of stocking is done. If we can't get into a body of water with this big truck, that's what we have the four-wheel drive for. There are some waters that we have or need to utilize four-wheel drive access. And this one here is set up with what we call an oxygen system backup. We need some means to help us out during emergency situations. If the truck were to mechanically shut down on us, we need to make sure the fish are going to survive, hopefully. And one of the ways we do this is with this oxygen system backup. This is where our technology is headed in the state. Not only does this back up our system, but it also shortens some of our trip loads up, if you will, because we can carry more pounds of fish per tank because the O2 is on board. Another advantage to these ground tanks is each tank has a fresh batch of water. It's a linear raceway situation where I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. Each step down in the raceway line is a decrease in water quality. This system here, each tank is a brand new batch of fresh water source. The original design of this tank farm had none of these extensions they can see. So the water came from this manifold, dropped into the tank. There was probably a 1-foot differential. We had some issues last September. We were actually lost a few fish due to oxygen depletion. And we found out that we were losing 20 to 30% of our oxygen bleeding off. When you're running on the edge, every little bit helps. So that's why we get the extension directly into the water. It's got a nice color. See some nice orange red bellies. A lot of people say that they can tell the difference between a stock trout and a native trout. Sometimes it's very difficult. I'll color it up a
That's the way to fish.
That's all right, you can't.
You think those fish are happy? Nope. They're jumping for joy. Good, well done. Good work, guys. Thanks, guys.
The average was 23.7. Each sample count was 5 kilos each, so we divide that by 5. So each fish, or each kilo was, I should say, 4.7 fish per kilogram. Okay? We know how many fish we need. We need 200 fish. We take the 200 fish, divide by the 4.7. We came up to 43 kilograms total for the 200 fish. We threw in 3 samples at 5 kilograms each. That was 15. We threw in one and we didn't count. That was 20. Subtract 20 from the 43. We need an additional 23. Okay? Make sure you study your math.
Ready, Sam? Good job.
Let the bucket in the water. Keep the bucket above the water.
Hey, look how close that is.
We're going to do a tabby's caddis. Again, we're going to use CDC material. I'll pull some of that out. It's going to be for the wing. So here we go, CDC caddis. Wrap my thread. I'm going to use a little tan colored here. You can tie it whatever color you want. Whatever color the caddis are in your area, you can. This is a size 18 barbless hook, by the way. I'm using an olive thread, pre-waxed. But watch out for the hook when you're dubbing. Spin some dubbing on there. It can be as bulky as you want. Because here's a little secret I do. Okay, got my dubbing on there. I'm going to loosely wrap over the body with my olive thread and then come back. There's a nice little body. I'm going to take a small grizzly hackle. And this is when I'm going to put this on. I'm going to trim the bottom, pull the sides out, trim off each side. So there's a little tooth on each side. I'm going to pinch that and wrap it. Okay. Now I'm going to take, this is the secret part, I'm going to take the CDC material and pluck it off the sides of the quill. Just like so. Now I'm going to take another one, pinch it right together, pluck it. Pinch it right together and pluck it. Now I'm going to grab it all by the ends and get those little curly cues out of there. Now I'm going to trim the bottom, and then I'm going to pinch that and wrap it. And wrap up to the eye. Okay. There's my CDC. Now I'm going to take my hackle and I'm going to wrap a collar kind of around this CDC. Pull it as tight as I can without breaking it. And just wrap a few times here. You don't need a lot of hackle on this. The more hackle you use, the more skittery this fly can be. So there we go. Now I'm going to get my hackle off. If I can. There we go. I'm going to do a couple half hitches here, get it on there nice and tight before it falls apart. I don't do too many knots, I just do some half hitches, and I'm a big fan of Zap-A-Gap. So instead of using a big blob from the top of this, I will take and put some on my bench, and I will use my dubbing needle to just get the thread. So I just want to get that thread, nothing else. There we go. That knot won't come out. Okay? Looks like a pretty messy fly, doesn't it? Well, we're going to give it a haircut now. I'm going to trim the bottom. Kind of flat. I'm going to trim the top in an angle just like a caddis wing. And you have a tabby's caddis. You can tie this in olive. You can tie this in olive or any other color you want. You can use different color wings. You can use yellow or tan. You can use a natural, whatever color you want. And again, match the body to the type of caddis you have in your area. The tabby's caddis.
Hey kids, the pond is stocked and it's time for the 10th annual Kids Fishing Day on Saturday, May 8, 2010 at Shenango Valley State Park, of course, from 9 till 1 p.m. Check-in starts at 8. Cost is only $2 per person. Raffles and prizes from 9 to 1. Grand prize drawing at 1 o'clock. Includes lunch at noon, free fly casting, fly tying, and free parking and no park fees. Pre-register by calling 648-5251. See you there.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.